Good evening and welcome. Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the Board Secretary on May 21st, May 22nd, and May 23rd in the following manner. Posted notice on the school bulletin board at the Administration Building, transmitted to the Courier Post, Philadelphia Inquirer, and the Clerk of Cherry Hill Township. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Sugars, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Sherfain?
Here.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Greenbaum?
Here.
Mr. Mayor?
Here.
Dr. Rude?
Here.
Mrs. Niaz?
Here.
Mrs. Tong? Mrs. Winters?
Here.
Ms. Stern?
Here. Okay, so we have some really nice board recognition that we will start our meeting with. First, we're going to start with recognizing our student representatives. I just want to say a few words to all three of you who are here tonight. All three of you have served this community, not just your own schools, your own high schools that you represented, but also this entire community of students in the most professional and courageous manner, truly elevating student voice again and again and again. And you've gone above and beyond so many times. You came to Trenton with us to advocate for fair funding. You've spoken out in public comment at the mic from your perspective as an individual student in the district. And I've learned from all of you, and I will say, I think on behalf of the entire Board of Education, we are so amazed, we're so proud, and we really are so grateful. And we cannot wait to see what's next for all of you. So I just want to thank all of you and congratulate you, the three of you, Colin, Gia, Matt, and Latasha, who's not here tonight, unfortunately. So first, we want to give you a big round of applause. And Dr. Morton, I think we have something to present to them. Is that correct?
So for, excuse me, both of our board student representatives and our alternates, we have plaques of appreciation. So Colin Duckett, our representative from West. And Latasha Bailey, our alternate, will also get a plaque. We'll make sure, we'll see that she gets that. And then our representative from East, Matt Renizales. And our alternate from Cherry Hill East, Gia Gupta.
Okay, thank you. And we're excited to see who comes next. Not sure they'll serve as well as you all have, but we'll see. Challenge is on. Shall we? Next meeting. Okay. Challenge is there. Hopefully challenge accepted. Okay. And now we're going to move on to our next board recognition, which is our employees of 20 years of service in the district. And I think some of you are in the audience tonight with family, so it's lovely to see you. I'll turn this over to Dr. Morton.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Stern. Very excited this evening to have the opportunity to recognize staff members who have put in 20 years of service in the district, 2 decades, who've given their life in support of our children. I'm going to call Ms. Wilson back up to join me at the microphone.
Okay, so I have 66 names to read off tonight. So I will ask that everyone hold their applause until the very end, and then we'll applaud wildly for everybody for their accomplishment. Those 66 names represent 1,320 years of service to the district. So quite amazing. I apologize for any names that I mispronounced. We will start with Nina Anastasia, Waleska Batista Arias, Ralph Berry, Anthony Bracco, Davi Brown, Nicholas Caputi, Christina Curlett, Anna DeMarco, Timothy Dempster, Thomas DePatry, Veronica Donahue, Courtney Donahue, Julie Dugan, Stacy Dykes, Helene Exterowitz, Michael Eng, Kathleen Fargo, Sharon Ferguson, Rachel Fiore, Carol Freilich, Donna Friedman, Caroline Fritz, Karen Fulcher, Kelly Grill, Lori Grossman, Amy Hurd, Endevet Hornsby Ferguson, Hui Say, Lucia Ibanez Torres, Michelle Jimenez, Susan Jocelyn, Marilyn Keeling, Leanne Keesall, Melissa Lampman, Angela Lankos, Claudia Long, Kimberly McAllister, Vinnie McLean, Maria McVeigh, Barra Mahan, Michelle Martino, Christine Mays, Joseph Miola, Christine Miller, Lauren Michioshia, Emily Murray, Tanya Myers, Suzanne Pizzarella, Megan Rios, Brett Rosen, Lisa Sagan, Melissa Santiago, Ray Savitt, Lisa Schoen, Francis Stowe, Roxana Stewart, Eunice Unmo Sung, Michael Surensey, Andrea Turney, Jasmine Vale, Sarah Weber, James Wentz, Jacqueline Woods, Zena Yukna, and George Zagrafos. And we also have our very own Director of Human Resources, Diane Lieber. So let's give a round of applause to everybody. And if all of you who just got recognized would meet me out front, I'll take a picture. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you for your service and for your coming and for your families coming. Okay, we continue on. We do not have any administrative reports or presentations tonight. So we will move on to correspondence. Do any board members have any events that they've attended they'd like to share about? Mrs. Winters.
On Friday, I got to go to one of my favorite events of the year, which is the Star Games. It was held at the Cherry Hill West Stadium. Mr. Mayor was there with me to see all the athletes competing. I love seeing Star Games. I love seeing the students that are there to participate. I love seeing the high school students who are there to help and all of the teachers and staff that come with the kids. It's really a beautiful day. We had beautiful weather. And I just want to thank everybody for including us. It was great. Thanks.
Other board members, Mr. Greenbaum.
Thank you. So a few weeks ago, I was at the Track and Field Mentor Day at High School West. This is where the High School West track and field athletes worked with children in grades 1 through 8 to learn more about the sport and try out some new skills. The younger kids had a lot of fun. My son was one of them. And the high school students really did a wonderful job working with them, making it a fun and welcoming event, and just making it an all-around good day. The kids loved meeting West's mascot, Wesley, as well. I also attended the last Fair Funding Committee meeting of the school year. This was the final meeting of the year before we take a break for summer. The focus was on thanking our legislators on both sides of the aisle for passing a bill to partially restore our funding. We also discussed some of the next steps in advocating for funding by focusing on the funding formula, which is likely to get revisited in the next year. And some of the topics we talked about were changing how the district's income is calculated, since that's one of the factors that likely led to our funding cuts this year, as well as some more sensible calculation of transportation aid, which tends to stay pretty flat each year, even though our enrollment doesn't. And with inflation, those costs tend to go up. So really just looking at where we're getting hit the most and where we'll see the most bang for our buck. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Niaz.
So I attended the signing day at West with Mr. Mayor, and it was great to see all these athletes with their families and having their hard work pay off. It was very exciting, and love that all those families were there to support the students.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
So I was also at Star Games, just to piggyback on what Mrs. Winter said. It's one of the greatest events I think we do in the district, just to show, the willingness that we have to support those students and the enthusiasm that all the athletes showed. The volunteers from the high schools that helped out. Just everyone is there to lend a hand, and they wanted to be there. One of the things that isn't apparent or wasn't apparent on the field was that there were so many more students who wanted to volunteer to help that couldn't, just because they were full. They had enough, and that says a lot for what I think the staff has been doing, and hopefully what maybe we've been doing in signaling the importance and support and acceptance for all marginalized communities in Cherry Hill and district. So it's just a wonderful event. And also with Mrs. Niaz attended the West Athletic Signing Day. Personally, it's also, for me, it's hits me a different way because some of those students who signed to go on to play their sports at various colleges are kids that I coached. Some of them I've been coaching since they were 8 years old. And knowing what they've put into their sports and how much family support that they've had, how much staff support they've had from coaches, from teachers, to have it pay off. So many have those dreams of playing their favorite sport in college, and very few will get there for any number of reasons. But to be there to watch the thrill that they have, to see the pride that their parents have, and to know that it is really a village, and that it took also the support of the staffs at the schools to make that happen, together with the drive that the individual athletes have shown from very young ages, is really spectacular. So just two great events. Glad I was able to attend both of them.
Anybody else have any correspondence, any other members? Okay, then I will share that I had the chance to go to the Cherry Hill East Model UN, which was held on May 18th. And Matt was one of the, I'm going to get it wrong, but one of the leaders. I guess you were a chair. Thank you. So a lot of kids banging gavels that day. I just have to say that was something that was part of the UN, the whole Model UN Day. So it was lots of students in many different rooms, spending hours and hours and hours with guidance, a little bit of guidance from teachers, but pretty independently. Debating, discussing, negotiating serious topics, including Star Wars related topics. So one of the rooms had Star Wars characters representing rather than countries. But it was a really neat day, very creative. And it was a number of schools came and joined in the competition. West was also there at the competition. It was a great day to see our students, our high school students, all dressed up in suits and ties and, their professional best, really thinking deeply about these topics and making the case for, whatever side they were debating. It was impressive. And we actually had a video intro. I didn't get to see this, but by Congressman Andy Kim, who is an East grad, an East alum. He gave a video speech to help open up the Model UN. And we also had one of our own community members who is also a parent at East, who has done work at the UN. She, I understand, also spoke pretty extensively to the students. So a lot of real world people with real world experience helping our students connect beyond the classroom. So it was really impressive stuff and exciting to see. And I did not make it to the Arts and Food Festival at Cherry Hill High School West, with great regret, Colin, because I had every intention to get there, not just for the food, but in general to see, because this was a great event. Unfortunately, I was out of town. I ended up being out of town that day. So I did not make it back in time, but I'm absolutely going next year if we're invited again. So I just want to extend my apology for not making it. Okay. All right. So I think we're done with correspondence at this point, right? Oh, Mrs. Tong, correspondence.
I want to extend my appreciation for May 4th. I know it's a little late. I was not feeling well last meeting, so I was not able to express myself. But I want to thank everybody for coming on the AAPI month. Cherry Hill is one of the sponsors. We're very happy. There's a lot of vendors, over 1,000, I think, plus people was there on that day on a rainy day. The shows, there's performances. There's a lot of community involvements from different schools, different towns. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? I miss anybody? Okay, great. All right. We now go on to first public comment. There are 2 opportunities tonight for public comment. This is the first public comment section and it is for board action items only. There is another public comment section at the end of our meeting for any school-related topic. If you would like to make a public comment tonight and you are a student in our district, we will always prioritize you to speak first. And if you are a student and would like to speak, then kindly come to the microphone first. And if you are online and you are a student and you'd like to speak, please put an S after your name so that we know you are a student and can identify you first, to speak first. We will alternate between speakers who are here in the room and those who are online. When you come to the microphone, we ask that you please state your name, your municipality, and if you are an adult speaking the specific agenda that you're speaking on. If you're a student, you can speak on any topic. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. The timer on the screen will indicate the amount of time you have remaining. And as always, we ask everybody to give respect to the speaker and not to interrupt the speaker or disrupt them with any comments in the back. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the community to comment on matters relevant to the operations of the Cherry Hill Public School District or within the authority of the Cherry Hill Board of Education. The board welcomes diverse opinions on relevant matters. Under established federal law governing reasonable restrictions on speech in public forums, statements which demean individual community members or groups, including our students, or which are irrelevant to the operations of the school district or are repetitious will not be permitted. Community members who would like to present information not relevant to the school district are always welcome to communicate directly to the superintendent, board president, and all board members via email or other alternative means. And with that, we will open our public comment. If you'd like to speak, please approach the podium now. Julian, if you could please state your full name and your municipality.
My name is Julian Daplin. I'm from Cherry Hill. I go to Cherry Hill West. So I would like to talk about action item 18.7 on the transfer of Mr. Blaze Dalio. So 2 weeks ago, many members of West Music came before you to discuss the issue of a position removal from the West Choir Department. 2 weeks ago, several students and parents poured their hearts out in front of you in hopes that you would hear them. I'm here tonight because I hope that you have done some consideration and some deeper reflection on the true ramifications of this action. As we have said before, the removal of a teacher in this department disrupts the very foundation and structure of the program. It is unable to function at its fullest potential without the dynamic that is currently in place. At the last meeting, there were certain issues brought up and compared to the issue facing the music department. Dr. Morton, you said something that I could not agree with more, that the issue facing those programs was extinction. Bowling and golf face the extinction of their programs, while the music department is not. This is very true. However, that does not mean that there is no extinction facing this program. The decision faces the extinction of all the momentum of progress that has been made since the pandemic. It faces the extinction of the amount of opportunities that every student is able to take a hold of, the extinction of the unmatched quality of instruction that we have currently. It faces the extinction of the promise of a massive, renowned program that we are on the course to achieve, the extinction of easy access to extra help. And even if none of that matters, it is also the extinction of any notion that there is an equality between your East and West high schools. It is beyond evident that the opportunities and programs of East are favored, with a staff of 5 music teachers to West soon to be 2. It is East that is less vulnerable to a blow like this. They've been favored in most aspects for a long time, but if the divide between the schools does not seem a problem to you, then I understand, but it is truly a disappointing thought for any West student, parent, or teacher to hear, and I hope they all hear it. Currently, we are looking at almost 60 students in our vocal workshop class, our entry-level choir. And I personally don't know how one teacher is expected to instruct, teach, and control 60 students alone. This class should have a second teacher, or if not, should be split so there are 2 vocal workshop sections. With this, plus the addition of concert choir, which is extremely necessary, and I pray you decide to run next year, there will be 6 sections, plus 3 extracurricular groups and 2 major musicals. This is impossible to be handled by one person alone. The students of West Music will fight for our success, and I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say we would rather do it with you than in spite of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we go to the line. And I don't see any hands raised online, so we come back to the room. If there are any other students who would like to speak, you certainly have the priority to speak on any topic, so please feel free to approach the microphone. And if there are no students who would like to speak, if there are any adults who would like to speak specifically on our action agenda, then please approach the microphone.
I wasn't going to be speaking. I was here for Brett.
I'm sorry.
but-
Will you just state your
Oh,
full name and
Mindy Rosen,
municipality? Thank you.
Cherry Hill, and
I'm sorry, could you just wait till the timer goes up? Apologize for the interruptions. I'll make sure you get your 3 minutes. Okay.
Mindy Rosen, Cherry Hill. I think it's 8.3 or 8.9, where there is a nurse that was at the alternative high school.
I'm sorry, it's action items 10 through 19 tonight, but you can definitely come back for a second public comment. Thank you. It's okay. Anybody else who, either a student or if there are any adults who'd like to speak? I don't see any hands online. Okay. See some students making decisions in the back of the room. No pressure. I just don't want to close public comment if you want to speak, and I'm going to close public comment if nobody else approaches, so. Okay, that worked. There you go. If you could please state your full name and your municipality as soon as the timer comes up. There you go.
Gotcha. Hi, I'm Salma Wally, Cherry Hill. I came here to speak last time about also the same issue as Julian about the removal of a teacher. I just want to say, like, I have like family members, relatives that have all been a part of like the Cherry Hill Choir program at West. Like my aunt was part of it. My other aunt, my mom, everyone like did it. And they remember all the fun trips and all the traditions that West Choir had. And I just think it's a shame that like those will have to come to an end if we limit the amount of teachers we have, because that decreases the potential for new ideas and old ones that our program once had prior to COVID, prior to like other things that happen. You keep saying that like our numbers have been decreasing. When we looked through program books, we looked through like our spring program from every year, the past few years in our program, our numbers of students, and it's showing an increase in students. We're slowly developing through the current years. And I think like any decreases has to be over like a span of like a bunch of years when we're not focused on like the change that's still like occurring. And also like the duo right now, like Mr. Dalio and Miss Chambers, this is their first year together. We didn't experience them together. Any changes was from past teachers that we had working together. And it's not the same. Every teacher comes in, they bring new skills to the program. And if they could just get like a year get together, see how much more they can accomplish. Because we did so much this year for MATA and the ICHSAs. They made it to the semifinals or whatever. Like there's just so much that they do. And like there's such a good team. So I please beg you to like reconsider your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. As soon as the timer goes off, if you could comes up, please full name and municipality.
Okay, my name is Melina Orloff. I live in Cherry Hill, and again, I wasn't really planning to speak today, but again, I just wanted to go like piggyback of what they said on this subject of 18.7. So last week on Tuesday, we actually had our concert. It went really well, and I really noticed how beneficial it was to have two choir teachers. And obviously, you guys aren't sitting in a choir classroom like we are every day, but when we have even like one kid more than like we need to have two teachers, you can imagine it as a classroom with like tables and desks. If there's one more extra kid, you just need two teachers. There's just not enough space. It kind of works like that with music, but in my opinion, music is one of the hardest subjects to teach, just because you actually like it's a lot of work. So when we had our concert, we actually had one music director directing it, and I'm in chansons, which is the second, like there's 3 choirs, but it's in the middle. And our altos, they were struggling with their section. So what we actually had, we had our second teacher go in while one directed it. And that was just so helpful. And it just made our concert such a success. And yeah, I just wanted to inform you guys that like it's not only like we're saying 2 teachers are beneficial, you can actually like see the progress and all the like benefits it can bring. So thank you.
Okay. If any other students would like to speak, please approach the podium. And when you see the timer come up on the screen, please state your full name and your municipality. To be Cherry Hill.
Hi, my name is Jenna Taylor, and I'm a student at Cherry Hill West High School. And I, as well, was not planning to speak tonight, but I just kind of want to piggyback off of what they said. This is my only my second year being in the West Music Program, and when I originally joined, it was Mr. Dalio who, encouraged me to join the program, and he's the one that encouraged me to stay. And just seeing the way the classroom dynamic is, we need 2 teachers. It's as simple as that. We, like Milana said, during concerts, we have one teacher directing, we have one teacher playing piano, we have one teacher in the crowd singing with us. They're everywhere. There's so many groups of us. And it's just too many of us for one person to try to be over here and try to be over there, and try to help this group and try to help that group. So it's just vital that we have 2 teachers, because one can grow the program. Miss Chambers came from her last school and she was able to grow the program at her last school. But Mr. Dalio, he helps grow the program as well, but he makes a very great connection with the students. And he makes them want to learn music, and he makes them want to have the passion to sing, to do things beyond just in the classroom, to go out and join musicals and extracurricular choirs. And I just think he's made such a big impact at West. And I beg that you guys look beyond the numbers and look at our community and what we're asking for, and just listen to our needs, because we are the students that sit in this classroom every day, and we see that we need a second teacher, just beyond the emotional aspect of the connections with our teacher, but just looking at how we run our everyday classrooms, our concerts, our theater program, and our competition choirs. There's just a need there, and I ask that you listen to our requests and consider reconsidering your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to give any information to, you could give it to, am I gonna do this every time? Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you please give it to Mrs. Wilson. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Are there any other students who would like to speak? I don't see any hands online. If you'd like to approach the podium, please do so. Please, when the timer goes up, please state your full name and municipality.
Hi, I'm Tyler McGrath. I'm from Cherry Hill High School West. I am a part of the West Choir of West Singers, Men of Note, Chamber Singers, and I also have been involved in Fermata, and sometimes I've even aided in chansons and vocal workshop. So I have been involved in so much. And Mr. Dalio, I'm here to talk about mainly the achievements that he's had. In the past 2 years, we have competed in the ICHSA, which is International Collegiate High School Acapella or something like that. I don't know what it stands for, but it is a cappella competition for high schoolers that we compete and we prepare for months. We have only done this for 2 years now, and Mr. Dalio has introduced us to this whole new world that nobody knew was ever possible. In these past 2 years, we've won 8 to 10 awards, whether it be outstanding vocal percussion, outstanding choreography, third, second, or I don't think first place, but a lot has happened, and he's grown us in so many ways, and he gave me opportunities that I never thought possible. I am one of the first freshmen to ever get into Men of Note, not only as a vocal percussionist, but also as a bass. I have gotten so many opportunities and so much to just grow my confidence from just him. I know that Miss Chambers is more than capable of running a program by herself, but Mr. Dalio helps in so many ways, and the connection that they have is just unlike anything that I've seen, because I have worked with Mr. Kane. He is the Carusi vocal director over there, and he also goes to my church, and I worked with him for several years, and he's doing great by himself. But there was a point in his life where he was raising children, and he was having a very tough time, and it's not as much about the numbers of the program than it is about the emotion, because a lot of teachers do it on their own. But if you think about it, I'm sure every single one of you has struggled on your own, and you've always wanted somebody to lean back on. And with those two teachers, the second that one goes down, they can boost each other. But I hope that you take the emotional as well as like statistical into the matter of fact. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe almost every current student who's in the room has spoken. If there are no other students who want to speak, I don't see any hands online, but if there are any adults who'd like to speak on items 10 to 19 on our action agenda, please approach the podium. Just kindly wait for the timer.
Good evening, Kim Friedel, Cherry Hill. So I want to speak to 18.7. I'm not sure why the other person was told it's not an action item, because it is an action item. Hopefully, when you are doing your discussions before your vote, the community will understand a little bit about why one of the people being transferred is the current nurse from the alternative high school, who is not moving with the students to alternative high school and is going to be staying here at Lewis. So if there's no students at Lewis, what is the purpose of a nurse being here? Also, I just want to thank the students for speaking their love of their teacher at West. And I just want to remind people that equity doesn't mean equal. And we need to be looking at what the opportunities are for all of our students. And there may be fewer students at West who are participating, but don't they deserve the same opportunities and the experiences that everybody else does? Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Adele, thank you for pointing out. I heard 8.7. However, if it was item 18.7, it's absolutely on the table. So please feel free to come back to the microphone if you'd like to speak on that item, or anybody else.
I have the same question as she does.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Public comment is still open for any of our action item agendas, action items on our agenda. If anyone would like to speak on 10 to 19. I don't see anybody at the podium. I don't see any hands online. I'm going to close public comment. And I just want to, first of all, thank the students for speaking so passionately and giving us an understanding of your experience, because we're not in the rooms that you are. We're not in the schools all day doing the things that you're doing. And really want to acknowledge and recognize, how difficult this is to sit here and hear that. Some of you were at Trenton with us, and we see you in the school activities, and we appreciate, what the school means to you and what Mr. Dalio means to you. And I have to say that I'm, thrilled. We have a teacher like that. We have many teachers like that, but I'm thrilled to hear the depths of a teacher like that having an impact on our students. I'm thrilled he's staying in our district, unfortunately in a different school, if that's where the vote goes tonight. And I want to ask Dr. Morton if you could speak to some of the conversations we've had about what might pursue in the future, depending on the numbers, and how that could sway things in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I echo everything that she had to say in reference to the students who shared such kind sentiments and such positive thoughts and emotions about Mr. Dalio. That makes me happy to hear that, and it makes me happy to hear that that's been the interaction. I think there was a point during the last meeting where students shared information about a qualitative versus a quantitative approach, and clearly the qualitative approach is being addressed, and listen, that's something that we want all of our students to experience. So that's fantastic to hear. Just to give you, like, just to give some legacy and background, students spoke about the legacy of the West Vocal Program and how there's such a rich alumnus that have participated in that program. So many years ago, there was an individual by the name of Christine Bass, who was a singular force behind the growth of the West Vocal Program. When Ms. Bass ended, the program started sort of going down just a little bit, but her numbers were upwards close to 300 students that this individual was able to get and to generate, to be a part, get kids to be a part of. The students were well known. That program was well known throughout South Jersey, within the region and nationally as well. That's the hope. The hope is that we can get back to a place like that where the qualitative piece is there, the emotion is there, the kids feel that connection like individuals felt to Ms. Bass, and the quantity is there as well in terms of the numbers also. In reference to concerts and things, the expectation is that Mr. Dalio will still continue to work with the small groups providing instruction. So he still would be there and be present with you guys in future concerts. But the thinking is, and the strategy behind the move as well with him is the thinking is that we need to start a groundswell effort. We need to start a grassroots effort to increase the quantity and the numbers of kids who are interested. So by having him work in the elementary schools gives them an opportunity to do just that, to expose children to love of music. And hopefully as the years succeed, we can see the program grow. And it would be fantastic for him to return to West. Again, as I vocalized in the last meeting, my emotion is connected with you. I'm 100% there in terms of the emotional piece of it. It's just the reality of it is that there's a limited amount of resources that we have. And our responsibility is to allocate resources as appropriate. And, in this instance, the quality of the program won't diminish based upon the numbers and based upon the assignment of one person during the day and an additional person coming over to provide the small group instructions and provide opportunities as well for events and things like that as well. Again, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your advocacy of the program. Clearly, the impact is there. We just need to spread that impact to more kids.
Thank you for explaining all that, Dr. Morton. So we appreciate the students being here and speaking. And speaking of students, I think I got so caught up in saying goodbye to our student reps that I skipped over your reports, and I'm sorry. So we're going to go to our student rep reports, final report of your tenure. And I think we start with Colin this time. Thank you. We're going to start with High School West. So Colin, if you could give your final report of your service.
All right, thank you. Starting with academics, the NJSLA was held for freshmen and junior students from Monday, May 20th to Thursday, May 23rd. Final assessments will be held on June 5th, 6th, 7th, and 10th. And various West Honor Societies are having their induction ceremonies. Congratulations to all inductees. For athletics, on Wednesday, May 29th, volleyball will face off against West Windsor Plainsboro North in the quarterfinals. On Wednesday, May 22nd, West softball beat Pineland 4-3 and are playing a game today. On Thursday, May 23rd, boys tennis beat Lacey in the first round of the NJSIAA Group 3 playoffs and will also play tomorrow against Mainland. Tomorrow, West girls lacrosse will face off against Mainland. On Thursday, May 23rd, baseball also beat Lacey with a score of 11-0 and will face off against Morristown tomorrow as well. And track will face Delsey in sectionals this Friday and Saturday. For arts, the art show was a huge success with beautiful displays of art from West art groups, including 2D art, graphic design, and more. On Wednesday, May 15th, West Catering supplied tacos, fajitas, pico, guac, and tres leches for our faculty book club luncheon. And tomorrow, the Pops concert will take place and will feature our music groups as well as a wide variety of musical instruments. For extracurriculars, Star Games was held on Friday, May 24th for special education students in our district as well as Haddonfield. West Model UN attended Cheeseman, where senior Benedict Segrist and sophomore Milana Orlov received awards. And clubs are closing down for the year and wrapping up and have begun succession planning. For other notes, Hall of Fame was held on Friday, May 17th, where 16 senior students were recognized for their accomplishments during their time at West. Seniors are making final preparations for prom at the Collingswood Grand Ballroom on Thursday, May 30th. On Monday, June 3rd, SGO will meet with Tasha and myself, as well as our incoming representatives, Rebecca and Jenna, for the final SGO BOE report of the academic year, along with Mr. Mayor. And finally, I will be continuing my education at the American University in Washington, D.C., where I will pursue a dual bachelor's and master's program in United States foreign policy and national security. I want to thank the members of this board for giving me the opportunity to have a different perspective and understand how school policy is made. It's been an honor serving with you, and it's been an honor serving with Matt and Gia from East. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. We go on to Matt. I don't know if you're sharing the spotlight with Gia tonight or it's okay. All right. So if you guys could give your final report, and luckily I do know that some parents who were in the room are online, so they'll still get to hear your final report.
All right. So to start, we have the season of the seniors right now. A lot of senior events going on. We had Mr. East earlier this month with Trevor Priest placing first, Alex Kang placing second, and Shai Gilmore placing third. This Thursday at the Crystal T Ballroom in Philadelphia, senior prom will be held. And students can begin to pick up their yearbooks today and tomorrow with Senior Sunset next Monday, which is a yearbook signing opportunity for our seniors. Next Wednesday, June 5th, we have the senior skating party. Thursday, we have the senior solo night. And beginning on the 12th and 13th, we have graduation practices for the seniors, followed by graduation on June 14th, Friday, June 14th at the Leah Center.
For academics, we have Science and History National Honor Society inductions tonight. Congratulations to all inductees. We also had numerous East students win Camden County Best of Class Awards. We had state testing over the past few weeks and AP testing over the past few weeks as well for a number of East students. Final exams will begin Wednesday, June 5th. Dr. Morin and President Stern spoke to faculty about the transition of alternative high school to East PTA, sorry. And we also had college commitment day for our seniors on May 15th.
For athletics, we had our senior signing day on May 22nd as our sports seasons come to a close for the spring.
For arts, we recently had our band, choral, and orchestra concert. We also had one act from our theater department on May 10th, and also, like West, our photo art and tech show on May 14th, as well as elementary school tours from our music groups at East.
And finally, for clubs, we had our Mal UN home conference on May 18th, which was complete with a lightsaber duel in the middle of one of the committees. Also a mime company ice cream social, and the SGA class officer elections have concluded, allowing the class officers to prepare for next year and all the activities for each grade level. We also have the NJASC Spring Conference tomorrow for SGA, which will take place at Six Flags Great Adventure. Next year, I plan to major in philosophy and political science at Cornell. And
next year, I'll be studying marketing and communications at the University of Pennsylvania.
Matt and Gia, thank you both so much for representing East community this year. And I don't know, all three of you are just superstars, and Latasha, who's not here tonight, but superstars. So pleased and so excited to see what's next. Thank you.
I thank all of you. I thank all of you for all the respect you've given me and Gia throughout these past few months. It really flew by. Even though some of the meetings were a little bit longer than expected, the overall time was definitely a fast process. A lot of unexpected stuff for me just to experience. But I'd say for Selim and Erilyn and all the students who come out to speak, don't let people like scare you. Don't back down. Like if you have a voice, and you are the most important people at these meetings because you're the ones who are being affected firsthand. You're the ones who are seeing firsthand the effects of policy. And because of that, don't let other community members try to, bully you out of speaking or stop you from feeling comfortable speaking. It's already a very stressful process for many people to come up here and speak, taking time out of their day. So as a community, just make sure that we're being respectful, kind, making sure that everyone feels that their voice is being heard in a respectful manner without name calling or posting people on Facebook when they're students or yelling at people in the middle of their comments. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo everything Matt said. Thank you all so much for allowing me to understand that even as a high schooler, you really can make a difference, even if it's in like a small report or a public comment. It's been so amazing to see all the respect and how much you're willing to amplify student voice. And yeah, it's been a great year.
I have nothing more to say. You could have said it better than we could. Thank you all. Okay. Yes, and please tell the next folks that sometimes it goes to midnight. So sorry, but true. All right, we're going to move on to our organization agenda. And I make a motion to approve the organization agenda, items 11 through 15. Do I have a second? Mr. Mayor, are there any questions? Mrs. Sherfain.
I was just hoping, can you hear me? Yes, okay. I was just hoping that we could get an idea of what the plans are for Miss Wethington's appointments after her retirement.
Yes, absolutely. So the information was shared on an organizational structure chart that was given to the board 2 weeks ago. And on the response to the questions today, I put down the positions as they would be reassigned. Affirmative action will be taken over by the supervisor of special projects. Title IX will be taken over by Director of Athletics. And there's one other I'm missing. 504, Director of Special Education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Seeing none, Mrs. Sugars, could you please open the online voting?
Board members, you may cast your votes. And the motion carries. We have a unanimous yes vote.
Okay, and we move on to our action meeting. We start with curriculum instruction. Mrs. Winters, can you please move the C&I agenda? Yeah, it was 11 to 15. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I didn't read them all out, so that may have been why the confusion.
No, it's just me trying to play along. Sorry about
okay.
that.
That's okay. I have a script, so I just follow the script. That's what it is.
The superintendent recommends, and I move the following. 16.1, approval of attendance at conferences and workshops for the 23-24 school year. 16.2, approval of attendance at conferences and workshops for the 24-25 school year. 16.3, approval of out-of-district student placements for the 23-24 school year. 16.4, approval of standard orders for the 24-25 school year. 16.5, approval of professional service agreements for the 24-25 school year. 16.6, resolution to approve research study. And 16.7, resolution authorizing resubmission and acceptance of the school climate change grant revision. Do I have a second? Ms. Sherfain, are there any questions? Ms. Stern?
Just a reminder to board members, which I forgot to say earlier, just that all of our names are listed under 16.2 because of the conference in October. So just a gentle reminder to please abstain from your own name.
Stole my thunder there.
Sorry, Mrs. Winters.
That's fine. Any other questions from board members on anything under C&I? I'm happy to answer. Everybody is okay? All right, Ms. Sugars, can you please open the voting?
Board members, you may cast your votes.
Ms. Sugars, I would like to abstain from my name, item G, under 16.2.
Ms. Sugars, I have no idea what item number I am, but I would like to thank you. I can't click back into it. So I'd like to abstain from 16.2F. I would like to vote no on 16.4, and I would like to recuse myself for a conflict of interest on 16.5.
Ms. Sugars, I would like to recuse myself from 16.2H due to conflict of interest.
Could you use your microphone, please? Thanks.
Mr. Sugar, I need to abstain from 16.2L.
Mrs. Sugars, I'll wait till you're done making notations there. I'm good, clear? All right, so I'm also going to abstain from 16.2I. Yes to everything else.
And Mrs. Sugars, I'll abstain from 16.2R.
Just go in order. Okay. Abstaining 16.2J.
And Mrs. Sugars, I'll be abstaining from 16.2E. Thank you.
Mrs. Sugars, I'll be abstaining from 16.2K and yes to the rest.
Okay, other than the many exceptions noted, motion carries.
Great. And now we move on to business and facilities. Mr. Greenbaum, can you please move the BNF agenda?
Yes. Okay, the superintendent recommends, and I move the following. 17.1, approval of minutes, board working session, special action meeting minutes, and executive session minutes dated April 9th, 2024. 17.2, approval of minutes, special meeting minutes, and executive session minutes dated April 30th, 2024. 17.3, financial reports. 17.4, resolution for the award of bids. 17.5, resolution for the award of competitive contracts. 17.6, a resolution authorizing competitive contracting for the procurement of preschool before and after care. 17.7, resolution for the award of transportation. 17.8, resolution authorizing the use of cooperative pricing agreements. 17.9, resolution to close dormant Special Revenue Fund 20, other local projects accounts. 17.10, donations, and I always like to read through these. Harris Cogiton Family Trust, donation to be used for art supplies and scholarship at the alternative high school. Alan Miller, to be used for assisting families with senior trip payments at High School West, and Beck PTA to assist toward trip transportation at Beck. Do I have a second? Mrs. Winters, any questions? Seeing none, Mrs. Sugars, please open the voting.
Board members, you may cast your votes.
Mrs. Sugars, I'll be abstaining from or recusing myself from 17.3 due to conflict of interest.
Mr. Sugar, I have to abstain from 17.1.
Okay, other than the exceptions noted, give a unanimous yes vote and the motion carries.
Okay, I will move the human resources agenda. The superintendent recommends, and I move the following. 18.1, termination of employment certificated. 18.2, termination of employment non-certificated. 18.3, appointments certificated. 18.4, appointments non-certificated. 18.5, leaves of absence certificated. 18.6, leaves of absence non-certificated. 18.7, assignment salary change certificated. 18.8, approval of a new job description. 18.9, other compensation certificated. 18.10, other compensation non-certificated. 18.11, affiliation agreement. 18.12, other motions. Do I have a second? Mrs. Winters, are there any questions? Mrs. Straffane.
Okay, so it's kind of a compounded question. So the first part is I would just like to understand a little bit better the purpose of transferring the counselor and the nurse to the Lewis building and what their responsibilities will be.
Sure, it's actually a great question. So they're not going to actually be transferred to the Lewis building. They are servicing our preschool expansion efforts. They're just going to be housed out of the Lewis building to have a location to work from, but they'll work with the external providers.
So will they be seeing treating patients if needed, or is it more of just an oversight position?
So if you think about the provider sites, there are a number of different provider sites, and they won't be on site at a particular provider site. They'll be on site at the district's administrative home, but they'll go out to the provider sites to work with those communities.
Oh, okay. So the reason why I was asking that is I was just wondering, we're giving that nurse a student. So I was wondering what the clinical experience would be for that student, seeing if they would actually be able to work with the kids at the schools and see what the actual role is the reason why I was asking. Did that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get a little bit more of an understanding of why that person would be getting a student from Rutgers. If they, at the time, I wasn't sure if they would actually be working with the children or not.
Mrs. Tong, you have questions?
Yes, I just have a question about the alternate high school nurse transfer to Lewis Administration School nurse. Can you give me an idea?
That was, I think Dr. Morton he just spoke. Both, nurse and counselor. But does that, you heard the counselor and not the nurse. Okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, so does that make sense for the information? Okay, great. All right, Mrs. Winters.
I just wanted to provide a little additional information, Mr. Faint. So the way the preschool program works is there's thresholds, and when you hit a certain number of students, you need to add additional positions. So once you go over a certain number of students, like last year, we have the nurse who was assigned to Malberg, and she was able to cover all the children that were in the program. As we expand certain positions, as you hit certain threshold markers, you need additional staff, but that's covered by the preschool expansion aid money. Does that make sense?
It's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or explanations, comments? No? Good. Okay. Mrs. Sugars, can you call the vote?
Members, you may cast your votes.
Mrs. Sugars, I'll be abstaining or recusing myself from 18.3, 18.4, and 18.6 due to conflict of interest.
On Mrs. Sugars, on 18.7, I'm going to vote no on Mr. Dalio's transfer, and I'm going to abstain from the two Lewis transfers, Ms. Columbi and Mrs. Case Abners.
Mrs. Sugar, I accidentally pressed abstain. What I'm trying to say was same with Kim Gallagher, just happened to be the same.
On the Lewis transfers and on the West transfer. Other than the exceptions noted, abstention on 18.7, transfer of the Lewis employees, and 18.3, 18.4, and 18.6. The motion carries.
Thank you. And I want to now, before we move on, to congratulate. We have 3 new appointees who have just been officially appointed in new roles in our district. So I want to congratulate and then turn over to Dr. Morton to say a few words. Mrs. McCartney, Ms. Franco, and Mr. Finkel. We're very excited to welcome you to 2 of you to our Cherry Hill Public Schools community, and Mrs. McCartney to a different role. I'll turn it over to Dr. Morton.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Stern. I'm very excited this evening to officially congratulate and welcome 3 new principals to our team. I'm going to call up Ms. McCartney first. Ms. McCartney is well known to all of us. She is currently the assistant principal of Rosa International Middle School. She's been a supervisor of curriculum and instruction for the district for several years, as well as a literacy coach, standout teacher from the school district of Philadelphia. Ms. McCartney knows the district inside and out, knows it well as a parent, as a community member, and as an employee for a very long time. Ms. McCartney's going to be assuming the role of principal of Woodcrest Elementary School. I'm going to call up Ms. McCartney to share just a few thoughts.
Thank you. I just want to thank you. I am very excited about this next step. It's a little bittersweet. I'm always, looking for a new challenge, but sad to leave my current home. But looking forward to joining the Woodcrest community and learning a new aspect of Cherry Hill Public Schools. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. And I'm also equally pleased this evening to introduce to the community Mrs. Christina Calazo Franco and her husband and beautiful little guy there. Mrs. Franco will be assuming the role of principal of Carusi Middle School. She comes to us with a vast array of administrative experience. In the current role, she is the principal of Buena Regional High School. Her references have raved about her and the wonderful job she's done there. In addition to that, she's also served as the principal of Pennsville Middle School for several years. In addition to that, she was an assistant principal at Highland Regional High School, former English teacher, and one who lives locally and is from this local community. I'm excited to have her join the team as well. Ms. Franco, if you can come and share a few words.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Morton. I just want to say thank you to the Board of Education. I am looking forward to this opportunity, and I am super excited to join the Cherry Hill team and specifically to join my family at Carusi. So I appreciate this opportunity and am excited to actually start the school year, although I know we don't want summer to be rushed by. So thank you.
Awesome. And last without least, I'm thrilled to welcome Mr. Daniel Finkel as the principal incoming of High School East. Mr. Finkel has gone through enough interview processes to last a lifetime. Absolutely. Mr. Finkel comes to us with a vast array of experience. He has been a standout principal at Delran High School for the past 12 years. Has done miraculous and wonderful things during his role and during his time there as principal at Delran High School. He's also been principal in Denville Township Public Schools, served there for 11 years. And prior to that, he was an assistant principal, Livingston Public Schools for 3 years. Mr. Finkel has very unique background as a teacher, having served in the public and private sectors as well as a teacher of mathematics, West Windsor, Plainsboro, and also at the Hun School. So he comes with a vast array of experience. Staff during his visit to the school had tremendous things to say about him. We're excited to have Mr. Finkel join the team. I'm gonna ask him to come up and share a few words.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morton. I figured this was more questions coming my way, but no, it was an extensive process. It was a complete process. It was wonderful to meet all of the different constituencies and stakeholders. I spent 30 years in this business and cannot imagine, having the opportunity to come to East. And I'm excited to start. I'm excited to become a part of the family and ultimately see what we can do together with all the students, all the parents, all the staff, and continue to embrace the traditions of East and make it the best possible experience for our kids. So thank you very much. Thank you for your everything. So appreciate it.
And just one other comment. I want to thank all of the faculty and staff, the labor management collaborative teams, Mr. Steve Redfern, and everyone who participated in the process, in the 3 processes. We had tight timelines, very aggressive and assertive, as I like to call them. But I'm very happy we were able to find 3 outstanding candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. And Mr. Finkel, rumor has it is that some kids have said you are low key, super chill. So I take that as a compliment. So, all right. We now move on in our agenda to 19.1. And I'm going to ask Mr. Mayor to please move the P&L agenda.
Will Superintendent recommends, and I move the following as revised by earlier hearing this evening during executive session. 19.1 approval of harassment, intimidation, bullying investigation decisions. 19.2 resolution of the approval of the harassment, intimidation, bullying hearing decision. 19.3 resolution for the approval of harassment, intimidation, bullying hearing decision. Are there any questions? Oh, there isn't. That's right. And 19.4 consent item to approve the policy and legislation item as revised, which is reversing the finding of one unconfirmed case number 26263555. Do I have a second? I think I got that right. Well, let's get the second first, and then we'll get the questions. We have a second, Mrs. Sherfain. Are there any questions? Seeing none, Mrs. Sugars, would you please open the voting?
Board members, you may cast your votes.
Mrs. Sugar, I'm gonna go 19.1 abstain, 19.2 no, 19.3 yes.
There's also 19.4.
19.4, resolution reversing the finding of the unconfirmed HIB. That was 263555.
Mr. Sugars, while Mrs. Tong is getting clarification, I'm going to vote no on 19.2.
Mrs. Sugar, I'm gonna go 19.4 abstain. Thank you.
Mrs. Sugars, on 19.2, I'm going to vote yes. 19.3, I'm going to vote no. And 19.4, I'm going to vote yes. And the other, I will vote yes to on 19.1. Messy P&L.
I'm just going to go with the motion carries.
I think that's a safe bet, despite all our different votes. Carries overall. Okay, and we move on to new business at 7:52. Wow. Wow. All right, new business. Is there any new business this evening? Oh, Mrs. Sherfain, go for it.
It's brief, but I've been thinking about this over the last couple of months and have yet to actually say something about it in public. So I wanted to just kind of put it out there. It's kind of a CNI thing with all of the preschool expansion stuff that's going on. Something that I think that maybe we should look at or consider is and honestly, this might be a state thing that we don't have any jurisdiction over. However, with children being in preschool, and some of which will get 2 years of preschool, if there's a way that we can look at the children coming into kindergarten, and if there's any jurisdiction over their ages and their cutoffs and stuff, if there's children that are well prepared to get into kindergarten after 2 years of preschool, I don't know if we have a leeway on that, but something that we can consider. Like the cutoff, I know there's children that have spent multiple years in preschool that are coming into kindergarten but don't hit that cutoff, even though they would probably really excel entering kindergarten, even if they're off by like a week or something. I think traditionally preschool wasn't a thing back in the day. So at the age of 5 was probably a reasonable time to consider their entering into kindergarten. I think now that we're expanding preschool, and this is something that will eventually be hardwired in the district, if that's something that we can maybe discuss or consider, if there's children that are more prepared to enter kindergarten, but maybe their ages don't hit that date, if I'm making literally any sense whatsoever. It's something that maybe we can, discussions that we can start to have for the future.
Mrs. Shafine, are you talking about the November 1st? It's November 1st,
October
right? October 1st.
Yeah,
October
I don't
1st. So
know.
you're talking about the, just so I,
Is that a state thing? Okay.
And also just based off of cutoffs, the students would have to go through you know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
I hear what you're saying.
There's just something that's been with all the discussion of preschool and stuff. I know previously there has been, families that present, they think that their child could probably start kindergarten, even if they don't technically meet that cutoff, if they're off by a day or two or whatever. If they are going through preschool now at a younger age, that's not an us thing. All right. Sorry to waste your time. We'll get out of here early.
I mean, I think it's always helpful to hear, thoughts, things, we talk about a lot of this work and we have ideas that come up.
It can't be looked at. There are possibilities.
And I think, Mrs. Winters, you have your marching orders now. So.
I was just going to say, I think it's a P&L issue, actually. I mean, not that I don't want it, because I want lots of things, but I
Whoever
think that
wants it. Go ahead.
I want so many things, but I actually think that it's not a CNI issue. I think when you're looking at, that would be the policy about the date, the birthday and the date in which you enter a school. I actually think that would fall under Mr. Mayor and not
Yeah,
me.
I think that makes most sense. So, yeah, we'd be happy.
I'm going to let that
take a
one
look at
go.
Challenge accepted.
Okay. Anything further related on that topic, or a new topic for Mrs. Tong?
I'm bringing this up again. I don't know you all, but I'm thinking about, since we're doing the bond, putting all the money into the bond with the school project, we are working also on the school ground parking lots. Thinking about solar panels. I'm still thinking about there might be a chance of helping us save some money. I know a lot of states has been doing that, having schools having solar panels put in, and also like Paco train station having solar panel put in. I wonder if it's possible we can look into it further before when we dig up the ground. Think about what is possible to save money.
I know, Dr. Rude, you want something else for strategic planning? Because I feel like it falls within kind of the green initiatives that you're leading the charge on.
We can certainly talk about it some more. The use of, sorry, it's been a long couple of weeks. The use of solar panels is oftentimes made beneficial by having all kinds of rebates and different things from the state that make it more cost efficient. So it's really a more complicated issue of seeing what's available. There's also a lot of work that would need to be done. And it's not specifically budgeted in the bond work. So those are some of the reasons that I've been told that it's a little bit more complicated than just saying yes, but it certainly is a part of the thought process for the sustainability committee as they work on the sustainability plan for the district to think about green alternatives for energy use and other things. So I think that's a topic that will continue to be discussed. I know there aren't any immediate plans, but I think that doesn't preclude future discussions about the possibility. So.
I'm just going to intercept a little bit. I don't mean that the bond has, because of the bond, we have to put the solar. I meant is since we're breaking up the ground on the parking lots and things like that, it might be a good idea to look into it and see what's the best for the school saving. That's what I'm suggesting.
Yep, I definitely agree that it could be a good idea. And I'm saying that through the sustainability committee, it will be considered. And it's something that a recommendation may be made by that committee to the district to pursue in the future. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one last thing I want to add to it is, since we're going to a lot to electrical, like electric cars, I think 2030, they are coming out with all electrical cars for 2030. We should possibly think about wires, I guess outlets in the parking lot put in place, maybe somewhere along the outlet edge. At that point, if we need it, we can just, I guess, think twice. I mean, we already plan ahead already, putting the wires on the ground, so it's less more work later, less work later, right?
Mrs. Tong, just to clarify, are you talking about like electric vehicle type plugins, charging
Yes.
stations?
Yeah.
Okay. That's something that we can also bring up in strategic planning and sustainability.
Thought you were going to throw that one to Mr. Greenbaum, so. For being a, no. Any other new business for board members? Okay. All right, that leads to old business. Is there any old business? Mr. Greenbaum, you have old business. Go for it.
I do. So much for talk of ending early, but we'll see how this goes. So something I wanted to talk about tonight is a discussion on the use of restored state aid funds. We received notice after our last meeting that some of our state funding was restored, 45% of what was cut, which is getting about 3.1 million back. In old business tonight, this is really just meant to be an initial discussion of how these funds may be appropriated, with a full discussion planned in our BNF committee meeting next week, and a discussion of the full board and vote expected at the next full board meeting. So I thought it made sense to broach the subject tonight so the full board can at least have a public discussion of some of these initial recommendations. It's important to note that there doesn't appear to be any mechanism for tax relief, and the state requires a proposal showing how the funds will be spent to directly benefit students. There is a mechanism to increase taxes higher, although it's important to note there's no desire to do this here in Cherry Hill, and our district doesn't appear to be eligible for that anyway. But that's a question almost certain to come up. I wanted to allay any concerns there. It's not something that's being considered. At a high level, I want to walk through what the proposed appropriations are, and we can have a discussion from there if there are any questions. So in no particular order, there's reinstatement of the ROTC program, which includes 2 positions and some supplies. Reinstatement of the golf program at the high school level and bowling program at middle school and high school levels. The alternative high school move, reinstating some of the positions. It was recommended that we retain some of these positions to provide sufficient support as the students move to a new location. And as such, many of the positions are requested to be maintained or reinstated rather than reassigned. There's also physical plant modifications for relocation of the alternative high school program. Includes installation of hallway doors, access controls, clock, intercom, networking, repainting, signage, room conversion, etc. A big item that's been a topic of discussion for a long time and was a top priority of Dr. Morton and the administration before we found out our budget was getting cut is enhancement of teaching staff's salary guide. This is our pay scale for our teaching staff. A big concern moving into next year is looking at how our pay scale aligns with neighboring districts and really districts all over the region. And if we don't do anything about it in the next year, we're potentially looking to be the lowest paying district for steps 1 through 10. And that's not a good place to be for recruiting or retention. You know, we're certainly not looking to necessarily be the highest, but needing to be competitive in order to retain the best talent in order to recruit people. I personally know several people that applied for jobs in the district and ended up going elsewhere because of this. It's been a priority for a long time, and it's something that we're asked to include in appropriations with some of the funds that have been reinstated. There's also been a need identified for 4 additional sections at the elementary school level. If you take a look at the demographic study we had a number of weeks ago, we're expecting significant growth in the district starting at the elementary school level, and some of that is as soon as next year. So we're looking at including funding for 4 additional sections at the elementary school level, purchase of ELA curriculum materials, reinstatement of purchase of interactive flat panels for classrooms. That was one of the supplies that was first cut from the budget when we received our state funding cut. There's an interest in reinstating that. And then lastly, purchase of software for elementary schools that have to do with diagnostic and assessment for math and ELA. And that is the list. So with that, I will open up the floor to any questions or comments with the expectation that in BNF, there will be additional discussion next week and a recommendation coming to the board the following week for any further discussion. Mrs. Trefane.
I guess the one question that I would ask is, when we had originally talked about the transfer of the alternative high school, we said that those positions that were originally suggested to be, I guess, combined, they were not part of the budget process. So I'm a little confused on that whole thing. And then also I'd like to have a little bit of insight on what changed to decide that those positions were actually necessary or preferred in hindsight.
Sure. So I'm going to almost immediately refer this to Dr. Morton. But my understanding was it was specifically requested by the administration for the alternative high school to retain some of that staff that was originally going to be reassigned. And with that, I'll refer to Dr. Morton for a better explanation.
Yes, absolutely. So in consultation and the conference with Ms. Giordano and the team, we did talk about essential staff that was needed. When we went through the process, we had initially reassigned the staff there as we went through the high school sectioning process. District funds, I mean, they're all district funds essentially. So these funds coming back to the district with the stipulation that we can't necessarily use them for a bank of funds in the future or tax relief or anything along those lines, just makes it wise and it makes sense to allocate it toward this reasoning. But essentially, the staff, with the exception of the nurse, were all accounted for and covered prior to. When we received these funds back, we decided to allocate the funds toward this purpose as well. So what this does is, on the other end, if we don't use the positions, each one of those positions comes with a potential average salary, which could potentially be a savings for us. That would give us flexibility later on. So.
Okay, any other questions before we move on? Mrs. Winters.
Not a question, but more a comment. Since I'm not on BNF, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents here as you have your discussions. So just from a CNI perspective, I want to talk about the teacher recruitment and retention and how that impacts things that we see in CNI, especially when we look at recruiting and retaining certain kinds of teachers that are very hard to find. World language has been a persistent problem ever since I was on the board, and probably before that. There just aren't enough world language teachers in the world to staff the sections that we want and need for our students. We're really lucky that we have Spanish and French currently offered at the middle level, but we're hearing that sometimes those sections can be really big. And it's because there's just not enough French and Spanish teachers out there for us to hire. So I'm really hopeful that and that's just one small example. There are all kinds of different specialty teachers that we need to staff the programs the way that we want to keep our class sizes reasonable so our teachers can teach them. And this will help us do that. On the flip side of that, we know that there's a lot of districts around here that, due to the budget cuts, are cutting positions right now. So there are teachers out there who are looking for jobs. And in this market where there's a teacher shortage, it's an opportunity for us, if our salary guide is competitive, to have more experienced teachers come into the district to staff the sections that we need. So from my perspective, I'm in favor of changing the salary guide for the lower levels because I think it would help us to recruit more teachers and ultimately help us to keep the classes that we want to offer to our kids, especially, like I said, things like world language, and also keep our class sizes reasonable. So that's one piece of it. And the other piece that I want to talk about, which is something those of us who've been on the board for a while have been talking about, is elementary class sizes. So if you can rewind back about, I guess, a year and a half ago, there was a lot of conversation around the elementary class sizes and class caps. Well, if we want to keep our class sizes where they are right now, then as the district grows, as the population grows, especially in the lower grades, we need to add more teachers. So I'm absolutely in favor of adding the 4 additional elementary sections in order to keep our class sizes where I think we all want them to be. I think it's an asset to the district that we have the class caps there. I know sometimes we talk about, things like flexibility, but I also think we also need to think about the reality of our teachers who came through the pandemic and did a heroic job and continue to do a heroic job every single day with the behaviors that they see in class, with the kids that they're still working to catch up and accelerate from learning loss. And I just think it's to the benefit of our younger students, especially in grades K-5, that their class sizes remain reasonable for teachers. So as we continue to see growth at the elementary level, I definitely support adding elementary teachers to keep our elementary class sizes where I think they should be, because I think that supports learning for all students and also supports our teachers as they work really hard every day to teach our young learners. So those are my thoughts on those 2 items, Adam. If you can take them back to BNF for me, I appreciate it.
You got it. Mrs. Gallagher.
So I had emailed Mr. Greenbaum this, but since we're having a public discussion, I thought I would. I had mentioned a couple items to him. So one was just, I know the decision was made to close job openings that we had. And I said, if there's any that we think that look critical, to maybe reopen them back up again. And then I'm always in support of increasing support staff, whether it be basic skills, reading specialists, math coaches, whatever levels are necessary. I think, as we all know, students are still coming back from the pandemic, and any assistance we can provide the students and their classroom teachers by having more support staff is appreciated. So that's for me.
Thank you. Mrs. Stern, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we faced this big aid cut and it was quite unexpected. And, I think the focus from administration has really been, how do we plan for the future? It's actually something that Dr. Morton testified about in front of the Senate, the state Senate, and Mrs. Sugars talks about a lot. Literally it's this constant moving target, and we have a ton of moving targets in our district. Our enrollment is a moving target. We have people who enroll all year long, enroll their kids. So our class sizes are a moving target. How do you plan properly and run a district well, comprehensively, and efficiently? So, my ask has been, what are we adding back in that is, and how do we keep it sustainable? That's really a big question of mine. And, I think when we look at all these decisions, although I'm not, I'm conflicted in terms of the CHEA discussions, so I'm not involved in those. But overall, I just think, like, comprehensively, I want to make sure what we're doing is sustainable. And, I think the question about ed assistants, specifically support staff, Dr. Morton, if that's, I think it's a question that's come up, and I wanted to see if that's something that you could, I guess, perhaps address your thinking, because that was not a recommendation of yours at this point in time. And I wonder if you could just share a little bit about why.
Yes, so we didn't necessarily recommend that just at this particular time, just due to the number of vacant positions that are currently available. Absolutely, I think any teacher would welcome the resource of additional 2 hands to provide support. But the reality for us is that we haven't been able to fill those positions. And I don't anticipate that we'd be able to fill additional positions. We can certainly give it a try, but the pool of candidates and people aren't really out there and don't exist at the present time. So that's essentially why.
Bless you.
Thank you. And I guess, again, bless you. I think, and we can have more discussion in BNF about the sustainability of the salary scale and also, you know, the elementary class sizes. But I would second what you said, Mrs. Winters. You know, it was last summer that we had teachers from parents from elementary schools, you know, send us a slew of emails and come to our board meetings and talk about, you know, the high number of students in their classes. I've been at school events where elementary teachers and I have been chatting, you know, they're volunteering at the events and I'm there. And they talk about, you know, the challenges of really big class sizes. And I mean, I think it's a pretty, you know, monumental suggestion to hear you say, Dr. Morton, you know, we really need to try to keep class sizes lower at the elementary school. And you're recommending adding teachers for that purpose, especially as we look at the GRIP study. It's a much more macro approach to learning and education. And you know, we saw last summer that after the parents, you know, came and spoke and it was looked at really closely, that in fact, it needed to be addressed. And that was, I hadn't risen to the conversation. It's nice to be a lot more proactive at this point in time. That just helps significantly. So I'm definitely in favor of that piece for sure. And we'll have more discussions, but.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
So I think there's also another aspect to that. The present experience that the teachers have and the students have is one thing. And certainly, you know, if we can alleviate that a little bit now by adding 4 teachers, that's fantastic. But just like the learning and the educational experience and dynamic with the experience that full day pre-K gives to students, they get that head start, right? They continue to evolve from there in their confidence because they've had better relationships, hopefully with their teachers. They've had more one-on-one time. They have more of an ability to concentrate and to grow as learners. If we can do something now that is going to help the students as they matriculate through the grades, we may see, and I expect we would, more adoption of students electing AP courses, honors courses, feeling more confident in what they can do because they've had that opportunity to grow as learners earlier. So I think it goes beyond just the present experience and alleviating class sizes, which is a problem, but it can be turned into a real advantage for many of our students. Of course, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what dynamics we can come up with to ensure sustainability going forward. But you know, again, you know, I'm very supportive of it and look forward to the detailed discussions that come out of BNF.
Dr. Rude.
Since I'm not on BNF, I just want to throw my weight behind Mrs. Winters' comments. She put everything that I think very eloquently, more than I would. So.
Thank you. Any other comments before we move on? Okay, seeing none. Again, with such a short timeline to submit the revised budget, I want to make sure we could open the discussion tonight so that we didn't just suddenly discuss it and vote on it all in one evening. Again, there'll be a deeper dive next week in BNF committee with an expectation of some additional discussion at the next board meeting on June 11th, likely with a vote to submit the recommendations at that point. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much for helping us have that discussion, facilitating it. Are there any other members who have old business? Mrs. Tong.
Yeah, sorry, I just have extra something to say tonight. I just want to comment to the student public comment. I think we did pretty good so far. Did not achieve to the first one, but we got to as much as we can so that we can get the student public comments address sooner than till the end or somewhere along the way. So we get you guys prioritized it. Thank you, Marion, for that, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I know that was something we've talked about. You talked about earlier in your board service. So yeah, I think we're doing better with that now. So trying hard with that one. Thank you.
We can ask a student here, see what they think, or you could write an email to president.
The student board reps have any comment about the opportunity for students to speak in our meetings?
I think the implementation of like the ability for students to speak in first public comment without it being a specific agenda item really helps. Although there are still times where if there are presentations to the board, some of them have gone like longer, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So then that could be difficult for students to really know like when they're supposed to come up specifically, or if they are busy, it's a lot of time that they might have to take out of their nights to speak. So maybe moving public comment a little bit earlier in the meeting could also work as a method of making sure that it's a more like structured, predictable period for people to speak, rather than having it fluctuate based on recognition, presentations, correspondence beforehand.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Anything else on this topic, or if not, any other old business? Okay. All right, great. So speaking of public comment, this is it. Second public comment. Very early to start. I don't really know what to make of that, but here we are. This is our second public comment section. During this time, you may comment on any topic related to our school district. We will always have students come first. Not sure there are any other students in the room who have yet to speak. So, but this is second public comment. They can speak during second again as well first if they want to speak first. If you would like to speak now, please state your full name and your municipality. We always start with students who are in the, we always start with speakers who are in the room and alternate with speakers who are online. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak, and the timer on the screen will indicate the amount of time you have remaining. So as I was kept asking earlier, and I'm sorry to have interrupted people, but always just if you could wait for the timer to pop up before you start. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the community to comment on matters relevant to the operations of Cherry Hill Public Schools or within the authority of the Cherry Hill Board of Education. The board welcomes diverse opinions on relevant matters. Under established federal law governing reasonable restrictions on speech in public forums, statements which demean individual community members or groups, specifically our students, or which are irrelevant to the operations of the school district or are repetitive will not be permitted. We ask that all of our speakers be given the full chance to speak without interruption. Community members who would like to present information not relevant to the school district are always welcome to communicate directly to the school district, superintendent, board president, and all board members via email or other alternative means. And with that, again, if you are a student in the room or online and you'd like to speak, I would ask if you are online, please put an S after your name so that we know that you are a student. And if you're in the room and you'd like to speak and you're a student, please approach the podium if you would like to first, because you will have the floor first. And it looks like we're okay. I don't see any students, so we will start in the room. And as soon as the timer goes up, if you could state your full name and municipality. Thank you.
Mindy Rosen, Cherry Hill. So I understand that the alternative high school move has been in discussion for a really, really long time, I hear. But just a few years ago, when we were presenting our bond, Mrs. Giordano spoke to the things that they were doing here at the Lewis Building that would benefit the students that were here at the alternative high school. So my question is, what is happening with the bond money that was slated to fix up the rooms at the alternative high school here in Lewis? So that's my question. What happens to that bond money now that the students are moving to East? Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, now we go to the line and the name is Tyra Lacey. If you could please state your full name and your municipality as soon as we're going to reset our timer. You hold on 1 second, please. Okay, please start. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tyra Lacey. I live in Cherry Hill. I sent an email to the board members earlier today. Hopefully you all received them.
Sorry, Miss Lacey, I'm so sorry. You're just hold on 1 second, please, because you're very garbled. Just if you could give us 1 sec.
Sure.
Okay, Mrs. Lacey, if you could please start again.
Sure. Hi, my name is Tyra Lacey. I live in Cherry Hill. I did send an email to the entire board earlier. Hopefully everyone received it. I wanted to talk to you tonight about an incident or multiple incidents that happened to my son who attends Woodcrest Elementary School. Around mid-March through mid-April, he was the victim of 3 separate incidents of bullying. They all involved racial slurs. I've personally been in this district, and I have 3 children who are in this district for about 15 years, and I've never experienced any sort of harassment or bullying with my children until now. And I'm extremely concerned about this uptick in harassment of my child, but more importantly, I am concerned that the parents of the children who were found to be in violation of HID policy were very dismissive of the incidents, downright rude in many ways as it relates to the incidents that happened to my child. And I wanted to talk to the board about possible ways that we can look at the current policy and make adjustments to kind of account for what I consider to be more of a cultural shift or uptick in these types of violations, because the climate, I think, across the country has changed significantly in the most recent years. And so I sent in the letter, I won't get into specifics about what I'm looking to have happen with the policy, but I want to take a kind of a holistic look at what we're doing now and what we can do better to really kind of advocate for the victims. Because I think we spend a lot of time looking at the policy as it relates to disciplinary actions for the actual violator, but the impact to the children who are actually on the receiving end of these incidents is really not being considered. And I'd like for the president of the board to hopefully read my letter and respond to me so that I could hopefully work with Ms. Weatherington, which I just heard may be retiring, and also Ms. Carter and Dr. Morton as it relates to this matter. I have spoken to all 3 of them individually in meetings. So they're aware as well of my idea to kind of help improve the district policy. But I also would like to hear from the board president after you have an opportunity to review my email. Thank you.
Thank you. We go back to the room, and if anyone would like to speak, please approach the podium now. When the timer goes up, please state your full name and municipality.
Rick Short, Cherry Hill. Want to make a comment to the last caller. I wish that.
Sure. Could you address your comments to the board and not to callers or other commenters, please? Thank you.
Isn't that part of the, she just said something and now I can't talk about it?
You can talk about an item for the board.
Okay, talk about an item for the board. Okay, the item for the board is restorative justice and how it doesn't work, and how at a Carusi just recently, they had an incident, a lockdown, because 2 parents got into a fight. Maybe if the district went back to the good old suspension system and not talk and try to conflict manage through talk and actually do what they do all across the United States and get rid of restorative justice, maybe you wouldn't have so many cultural problems. How about that? Let's get into truth and lies. So, is it a truth or is it a lie? You still haven't answered it. That we have Dr. Bettina Love working with Cherry Hill West. Yes, Dr. Bettina Love hates America. Dr. Bettina Love said it on, let me correct that. She hates capitalism and she's working with Cherry Hill West teachers. That is not a good thing. What about Dr. Goldie Muhammad? What is she doing? She is Miss DEI of the world. And I know I've been up here many times asking about DEI, and no one has provided me a school that's done it for 12 years and provided me any success. All DEI does is create separation between groups and fights. Dr. Kinde, another cancer to the district, where my son had to read the stamped book. Just more comparison, just more separation, because that's what this district loves. Can't talk about Black Lives Matter in Philadelphia. But my next question is this. Recently, there was a, recently I was banned from school during working hours. Today, I put out a video where it said, Dr. Morton said he would take care of it. But it doesn't look like he took care of it because the actual student who harassed me ended me up to get suspended from all school grounds during school hours. So will Dr. Morton allow me back on school grounds after he hears this tape? Because he said he was going to take care of it. And then to make things worse, the student apologized to Dr. Morton for harassing me.
Thank you, Mr. Short.
Thank you.
We move on to the line, and the name is Laura Einhorn. If you just hold on one second, we'll put up the timer. There you go. Name and municipality, please.
Can you bring
Ms.
me the
Einhorn, if
time?
you could- Yeah, go ahead. I'm
Can
sorry.
we start again, Mrs. Stern?
Sure. Hold on one second, please. Okay, go for it. 3 minutes.
Okay, it's Ann Einhorn, Cherry Hill. So I'm very confused about tonight's agenda. From 18.7, you're moving 2 positions from the alternative high school, one to East, which I believe is art, and the other is a special ed teacher to West. And then the alternative school nurse is going to Lewis for pre-K. But under old business, I heard Mr. Greenwell mention that positions were cut from the alternative high school program. So what are we doing with the students that attend the alternative high school with the movement of these 3 positions? Are they going to be integrated into regular classroom for art? Or is the art teacher coming to them? And the same thing when it comes to a special ed teacher. Are you hiring a new one to replace Miss Columbi? Or we're not replacing her? I'm really very confused as to the programming going on here. I think it's very interesting that about restoring state funding, your #1 issue should be bringing up the salary guides, because you are indeed losing people, because we are one of the lowest paid districts in the area. And from the last meeting, I asked for Kingston, where is the playground going to go? Because currently on the district website, it says playground enhancements right next to Kingston Road. And I think that's a very dangerous area. So thank you.
Okay, we go back to the room. If there's anyone who'd like to speak, please approach the podium. You could just wait till the timer goes up, and please state your full name and municipality when it does. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Sweetie from Cherry Hill. I'm talking about matter 18.7. I graduated from West in 2002. As long as I can remember, at Cherry Hill West, it was known for its music program. All my friends and siblings were part of this program, and they talk very highly of it. Now, for the past 2 years, I get to witness my 2 nieces that I've been raising talk very highly until the past month. Now I hear fear of losing the one person that has impacted their lives greatly, the one person that actually made a change and made music fun. Last board meeting, we were told how talented the Carusi students were during their concert and the large number of students who were involved. How do you expect one teacher to handle all these students? I understand COVID has affected the number of enrolled students in the music program. However, looking at the data, the number is rising. Why would you want to ruin what's already working and it's great? I feel that West has always been targeted. We will forever be the second compared to East. The one thing that West was always known for decades is slowly being taken away. To be honest, I wasn't planning to speak because I know how this all works. It's all politics. I even told the students this last time when we left. However, for my nieces and their friends, I had to show up for them. These students are speaking their hearts out in something that they really care about and want. I really hope you're listening to what they're saying. Like I said, I wasn't supposed to speak here. I was sitting in the car because I know in your heads, you already have what you're gonna do. You just let them. I mean, if you look at how many students are here, and even last time, they're showing up. It's a day after a long weekend. They're coming. It's beautiful outside. I know my niece has homework to do, stays up until 1 a.m. every day, but she's here speaking on what she wants. Students nowadays, like, they're telling you what they want. Students, it's either they're in the streets, getting themselves in trouble, not going to college, but they're doing what they enjoy. I hear so much about their music teacher, how great he is. I'm the one who's picking them up I have 2 different practices and how hard he works on these kids. Don't take away something that it's great for them. West is going down from when I graduated. Let's just be honest. East is getting everything. So leave the music program alone. Let them grow in it. Let them have a safe environment where they feel safe and feel like they have a mentor that they can look up to. Thank you.
Okay. We go back to the line and it says Wider Bridge. If you could just hold on one second, we'll restart the clock and then you could please state your full name and municipality. Okay, it's on.
Alana Yaris, Cherry Hill. I noticed that Mr. Fain voted no on the standing orders for nurses for the coming school year, and I believe her professional profession is a nurse. So I'm just curious as to, as a nurse, why she voted no if the district has recommended yes. I know that she cannot answer me, but if the nurse voted no, maybe there's a reason for that. And second, I sent an email almost a week ago asking a couple of questions about the 25-26 school year calendar and did not receive a response back. So I'll just read it here. I see that the Martin Luther King Day is not listed as a day off for that year. Will it be a day off? It usually is. It's a community day of service. I also see that Eid is listed as March 20th and the schools are closed that day, March 20th, 2026. But I believe Eid is March 19th in 2026. I know that it's a lunar holiday and it moves from year to year, but if that could just be double checked about when, if we're off for MLK Day in 2026 and about when Eid is for 2026. And the other thing is that in the middle of the year, professional development was added to the high schools on the last Friday of the month, making that school a half day. It was not disclosed to the public that meant that there were no after-school activities at the middle school because late buses would not run. But my son came home from middle school on all of those Fridays. And the first time he came home, he said, "Oh, there's no late buses." And I asked why, even though the buses are running at regular time for middle school and high school and elementary school dismissal. And he said there were no late buses at the high school, so there are no late buses for the middle school. So if professional development in the future is done as a half day at only some of the schools and not all the schools in the district, if it could still be looked at that the middle school can still get after school activities, because I think it's important for those middle schoolers who aren't having teachers with professional development. Thank you.
To get to full time and please state your full name and municipality.
Okay. Hello, my name is Natalie Malin, Cherry Hill. I'm an alumni of Kingston, Carusi, and West. I am here on behalf of my son, Eric Malin. His beautiful drawing of Earth is currently on display in Dr. Morton's office. He is presently at Malberg, where he has been enrolled since he was just over 3 years old. We live in Kingston. I'm a current involved parent at Kingston. My son, Vinny, is currently about to enter 2nd grade. Eric has been recommended for autism support for kindergarten, a program that is offered at our home school. However, we just found out last week that he was placed at Cooper. Having 2 boys so close together in age and a younger sister that will also be going to Kingston as well in the next 3 years, this has been a highly stressful thing to learn. That the opportunity, when there is opportunity for Eric at Kingston. Both boys have severe food allergies. With Eric being minimally verbal, it is hard to imagine that he will not have his older brother with him in school in the coming years that we saw it for his future. Beyond the financial burden that the district would be sending a child in the neighborhood out of the neighborhood, Eric also has severe GI issues, which has been documented at his present school. He suffers to get out the door very early in the morning, and it can become very stressful for him to use the restroom early in the morning at school. For this reason, he has been late. Additionally, my other son has been late to school due to missing the bus and so on, so on. Additionally, we live on a dead end. The bus is unable to get to our front door, a service that Eric qualifies for. As you can see, there are many challenges for our family with this decision. He would not need a bus if he was at Kingston. We'll always have another child with him to drop off. I have asked this question as to why he was placed at Cooper, and I have not felt heard or supported. The director of special education did let me know this morning that there are multiple students in my neighborhood that require autism support, and that the classes for Kingston are almost full this year coming. I would like to share some of what I replied, and I have not gotten anything back yet. Keeping students with special needs within their neighborhood should be of top priority when it can be provided. You state that the rooms are almost full. To me, this indicates that there is room, but for a number of reasons, Eric is being put in another school. Eric has been at Malberg since he was just over 3 and has been in the autism room this year. It is of no surprise what program is needed for him. If there are multiple students within the neighborhood needing the program, why is my son being chosen not to have the same opportunities as his peers in the same situation? We are an established family at Kingston. He should have the same opportunity as anyone else in this position. This is highly distressful for our family, and I am a well-informed member of this community. I've seen these adjustments been made in the past for friends, and I would ask that somebody help me. Thank you.
Go back to the line. And it's the number 788. If you could please state your full name and your municipality, just give us 1 second. Okay, timer's up. Go for it, please.
My name is Jeff Podowitz, and I live in Cherry Hill. I've heard some talking about this east-west thing. First of all, yes, West is being shortchanged. They were always known for choral work for years. It's well known. And what you're doing, or what has been done, unless you change your mind, is troubling. Very, very troubling. With special education, same way. With the kids who have IEPs, yeah, it's troubling what's being done with the AHS. All of this is troubling. East has overcrowding. West has problems. Everything is troubling. Where the money is going to is preschool expansion. It's a priority for the district because it's a priority for the state. And they're doing what the state wants at the expense of our community and your kids right now, because there's learning loss, and that should have been the priority. Preschool expansion should have been delayed. It is costing a lot more. They are hiding costs, how much it really is costing. They're hiring more administrators. That's where your money's going. And the people you're looking at right now, those administrators, it's their choice to put the state's agenda above your kids. At 15 to 700 kids, and that's how much it will be, we will be the largest preschool expansion district in the state. We're a good experiment. They're experiment, but it's our funds, a tremendous amount that will end up paying for it. And when you add construction costs, believe me, that's where the money's going. Believe me. I've said enough now, but those administrators, they're doing what the state wants at the expense. This should have been delayed. It was not. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And folks, don't go east and west. They're trying to separate us. That's what they do. Understand that. Thank you very much.
Okay, we go back to the room. If anyone else would like to speak, please approach the podium. When you approach the podium, as soon as the timer goes up, if you could please state your full name and your municipality.
Okay. Mohammed Jawad Hussein. I live in Cherry Hill. I'm speaking as a role of a pediatrician. I am actually hugely in support of the preschool expansion that has happened in Cherry Hill. One of the greatest ironies of the human condition is the most important years of your life are the ones you don't remember, right? 0 to 5 is greatly important for development, for the health, the mental well-being, everything in a person's life. And so the preschool expansion has helped given more opportunities to young children, and it will create benefits down the road. So I actually do applaud the Cherry Hill School District for doing such a good job with the preschool expansion and continuing to work on it. Thank you.
Thank you. We go back to the line and there are no hands up online. So we come back to the room. If anyone else would like to speak, please approach the podium. You could please state your full name and municipality.
Gotcha. Salma Mitwali, Cherry Hill. I spoke earlier, but just wanted to add on to 18.7, what I was saying. I heard when you guys were discussing that you talked about adding more teachers to address the high classroom sizes. You stated that your goal is to limit that to allow more focus and a better ability to grow as learners, which Mr. Mayor, you were saying that specifically, but now look at the choir classes. Taking away isn't going to help build our program. You keep saying that your primary goal is to assure our program thrives. If we have 2 now, taking away 1 will tear us down and isn't going to help us live to Miss Bass's expectations, as you brought her up. She was known as a legend to the choir program. She still is. And realistically, that is hard now with 2 teachers. But so taking away 1 isn't necessarily going to just bring that up and boost that, which eventually we can reach that level, but it hasn't happened yet. So looking in the future as our numbers have been progressing in the short span of years. And then also, we're also one district. If we're looking at the elementary schools and the middle schools. I went to Carusi. I was in the choir program there. And it's the same Carusi kids coming to West to continue throughout the choir program in the district. And they're looking for that to expand as they grow and for new opportunities to arise as they continue throughout the district, which is why I think we should focus on the high schools being of more opportunity than, let's say, the elementary schools. You can't compare them because it's not the same level of education. And it's the same people going through that whole entire process. And then if the choir program is being compared, if we can't compare it to regular classes, like the need for English teachers or math teachers, if we compare it to let's say sports, I play volleyball. I have 2 coaches at Cherry Hill West, and having 2 coaches allows for 2 styles. Each coach has their different way of serving or their different way of passing, and you benefit from both of those. And so it produces a double advantage, and what works best for certain students. For the choir program, we work in sectionals with our 2 teachers. Obviously, Mr. Dalio has a more tenor and low voice than Miss Chambers. I'm a soprano. I benefit personally having someone that's a soprano for my voice, because then I could compare that, when others may see Dalio being of more use to them because of his deeper voice. So it depends on the student. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we go back to the line and there are no hands up online. We come back to the room. Just hold on for the timer. It goes. Okay, go for it.
Okay. I'm Milana Orlov, live in Cherry Hill. I apologize in advance. I'm losing my voice, so please bear with me. Going off of what I previously said, all of you thank us for coming and highlight the importance of students advocating and speaking up, which we're thankful for. But what's the point of us coming if we're voiceless? As a student, I'm just urging for a voice, but I feel like I'm talking to a wall sometimes. It was mentioned earlier that our music teacher, Mr. Dalio, is expected to work with small groups. How? As I mentioned last meeting, he can't. It's unreasonable. We can't have any lunch rehearsals if he's in a separate school. He can't teach us after school if we have to wait 50 minutes for him to arrive from a school that ends significantly later than 2:30, an elementary school that won't even be on the west side. Yes, he can encourage kids to join, but a majority of them will go to East anyways. Of course, not all children that live on the East side will go to East. For example, me, I went to Rosa, I ended up going to West. But during every icebreaker in school, when students were asked, what middle school did everyone attend? It's not surprising for me to be the only one that raised my hand that went to Rosa. Just like Dalio could encourage elementary school students to continue their music passions throughout middle school and high school, most of the students won't even end up out west. Going back to the cut in Trenton, we were given back 45% of the original cut. So why are we so eager to get rid of a course teacher? Disregarding numbers, disregarding emotions, disregarding feelings. In the end, it should not makes that huge of an impact for one teacher that we are trying so hard to advocate for. Thank you for the time I was granted today. Have a good evening.
Okay, we go back to the line and still no hands online. We come back to the room. If anyone else would like to speak, please approach the podium. And as soon as the timer starts, full name and municipality.
All right. My name is Janam Salem. I'm from Cherry Hill, and I've been here a few times before. And first, I wanted to congratulate the new Cherry Hill East principal, Dr. Finkel. I was fortunate enough to be at the interviews with the PTA, where we asked him very real questions about, how he would, take care of some of the issues that are present at Cherry Hill East. And I think that he was a very good choice. And, I was very happy about that. And I wanted to thank Dr. Morton for giving us the opportunity with that scan for us to, voice our opinions of how we felt, each candidate was, because we did sit in for the 2 days of the interviews. And that really, I really wanted to thank him for that, because that made us feel like we had a voice and we had like a role to play in the decision of a major school in our district. And I was very thankful for that. So I just wanted to thank you. And I wanted to thank Matt. Did I say your name? Because I always call you Mark for some reason. I'm sorry. But thank you, Matt. I know that in a previous school board meeting, you did mention coming to the Muslim iftar, and you did, give us some props, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to have you with us. And we would love for more of the school board members to join us in other activities, because I know we have emailed you about the June 3rd event at the Cherry Hill Library, and we'd love for everyone, extending the invitation to everyone, to please come out and, just we want to be a part of the community, and we want you all to, to experience some of the things that we experience as not just as Muslims, as Cherry Hill residents. So if you could please support us, we'd appreciate that, because that to us, we have reached out for other events, and we kind of feel like you guys aren't making time for us. And I know that's not your intention at all, I'm sure, but please try and make some time to come out and just have mingle with us. And we did put a lot of effort into this particular event, so we would like to see some faces there, if that's possible, to every single one of you. And you too, Matt, please come on June 3rd and come and see the calligraphy and the beautiful artwork that is going to be on display in the Cherry Hill Library. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We go back to the line, and there are still no hands raised online, so we come back to the room. If anyone else would like to speak, please approach the podium. As soon as the timer goes up, if you could start.
Yoni Harris, Cherry Hill. I'm in complete agreement that salary should be one of the top budget priorities. I, for one, would have considered coming to apply in Cherry Hill, but it would have been a several $1,000s cut from what any of the other districts areas are paying. So I think you're losing a lot of talent. I talked to other teachers who I'm friendly with, and they are steering clear because costs are up. Especially if you're coming out of college as a new teacher, you're looking at debt to pay off and things like that, and you're pinching pennies. And so that starting salary really matters. What Natalie brought up is my West and my greatest fear with Mac, who next year will be graduating from the Malberg program. Right now, he will not be getting his home school of Kilmer, even though we will be at that school for a very, very long time. How we have done special education divides family and puts a lot of stressors on families, especially in terms of back to school calendars and other events constantly conflicting. And people being on the west side, shopping all the way over to the east side, it just is not conducive for families and puts a tremendous tax on them. I think it's time for us to get rid of open enrollment. I believe that is the cause of many of our issues and the imbalancing. The community has weighted one high school over the other, and open enrollment encourages that behavior. It is time we've gotten rid of the selection process at the middle school level. It is time for us to go back to fully zoned areas. It seems to me that would be a big step in the right direction. Advocates against the preschool expansion are actually speaking out against special education students. My son next year will be going into the half-day program if there was no expansion. Because there was expansion, every special education student has the ability to get full day education with no reduction. And that full day shows tremendous growth potential versus the half day, which would have put increased burden on those special education parents, because finding childcare for special education students is next to near impossible to find care that you can trust and feel safe with. I would like to say congratulations to Matt, Colin, Gia. You guys have been absolutely incredible. I thought last year's bar was set high. I think you guys put it at near impossible lengths to succeed. And also special thanks to Matt and Gia as a dear friend of Eastside and someone who's on there. You guys have done incredible work there. You've built even more of a legacy for all the writing you guys have done. Left a giant mark for that. And you've also set the bar up really high there. So thank you all for all you've done, and best of luck as you go on forward. Thanks.
Okay, let me go back to the line. And it's Jim. As soon as the timer restarts, if you could please state your full name and your municipality.
Thank you, Chair Jim Neary, Cherry Hill. And I don't often disagree with Mr. Yaris, but his statement he just made about ending open enrollment at the high school level would be a travesty. I'm going to have to strongly disagree with that idea. Until there is equitable programming and equitable outcome at the two high schools, ending open enrollment would do nothing short of completely devastate this town and basically hold the board liable for one of the most massive lawsuits in equity and equal rights for not supporting one side over the other. So that would be an absolute travesty. I would strongly urge the board, as somebody who's looked into what the ramifications of that would be, to not entertain that idea whatsoever. Thank you.
Okay, we go back to the room. Anyone would like to speak? If anyone would like to speak, please approach the podium now. And as soon as the timer goes up, we'll ask you to start. I know you won't need the full 3 minutes. You never need the full 3 minutes.
I'm
But
short and to the point. Steve Redfern, Cherry Hill. So obviously for me to stand up here and talk about what you're talking about next year, more staff, increased salaries, you know, my position on that. But what I want to do is thank Dr. Morton for the process that we went through with hiring 3 principals and utilizing the school-based labor management teams. They felt vested in the process, part of it, great discussions in all the interviews, and then also still being a part of it, you know, at East when the 2 candidates visited. So again, I know Joel and Gina, you're part of those meetings, but it was nice to see it at the school level come to fruition and everybody be happy with the process. So thank you, Dr. Moore.
not even a minute. What's the secret? You look online, there's no hands up online. If anyone else would like to speak in the room, please approach the podium. Okay. Nobody in the room, no hands online. I'll close public comment. I do want to say, I'm not always the most eloquent about these things, but I really want to say to the students, please do not take an inability to change a decision on our part as not listening to your voice and not having value in your voice. You have tremendous value. You bring tremendous value. And there sometimes are very hard reasons to understand, and I get that. And I could spend a lot of time talking to you about many different facets of the reasons, going back to the past, over the past year, these discussions. I hope that you take from this the fact that all these adults and kids are listening to you. Sometimes the outcome is not what you want, and I realize that, and I take full ownership of that on my part. But please continue to understand that we are listening and we do care very much. It's exactly why we're here. We put a lot of time into this role, a lot of time, because of you guys. It's exactly why we do it. So please understand how important all of you are to us. Okay, Dr. Morton.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those comments as well. Those definitely resonate with me also. I just want to extend kudos to our student board reps this year, Matt, Gia, Natasha, and Colin. I thought you guys approached each meeting with a great level of preparation. I thought you spoke with eloquence and intelligence each and every time that you did have an opportunity to speak. I thought you served with a perfect combination of grace, humility, but also courage. And that's important, you know, for you as you move forward into your future endeavors. You know, I'm certain that you all will be successful, and I'm going to be rooting for you. You can get me some pom-poms. I'm behind you 100%. Definitely stay in touch and let us know how you're doing. Kudos as well to all of our staff members who were recognized tonight for 20 years of service. Again, you know, I'm of the mindset that the minutes and the hours and the days of our lives are those that we cannot get back, you know. So essentially when someone gives up their time, they're giving up their life. And those staff members have given up their lives to educating the children here in Cherry Hill. And it's important. It's extremely important. I want to say thank you to the board for your support of things to address our salary scale and things to address overall teacher morale. I don't know if you are aware, I'm not speaking to the board, I know you're aware, but publicly, but there is a national crisis around teacher morale, national crisis. All the data points to the fact that individuals are leaving the field and students aren't coming into the field. And there's a number of reasons that affect that. Salary is one of them, value, voice, being connected and a part of a community, feeling a sense of belonging and being respected. A part of the concerns. You know, we want to definitely address those things here. We value our staff greatly. If you think about it, we had a consultant come in earlier this year and said, you know, the working environment that we create directly impacts the learning environment for our children. So, you know, how can we expect our teachers to create wonderful learning environments if we don't take care of them and create wonderful working environments? So thank you so much for your support of creating the positive working environment for our staff. We value our staff, and we want to be a model for what that looks like across the state and across this country. It's hard to believe this is the last week of May. We're moving into the month of June, and before we know it, the year will be wrapping up. It's truly incredible. There's many great things happening, and with that, this time of year, synonymous with just wonderful culminating events and truly fantastic things that occur. I know it was mentioned several times, Star Games event that we had, but Star Games is one of my favorite events that occur throughout the year. The energy is palpable. You know, the participation and the collaboration is truly amazing. So I just want to thank Kristen Bradford, teacher who helped to facilitate that along with the Star Games team. I want to thank Cherry Hill Police, Cherry Hill Fire, Cherry Hill EMS, our custodial teams, the maintenance teams who came out and made sure that things were set up. Thank you to all the staff who were involved in putting forward that day. And thank you to the student volunteers as well, because the students are a critical piece in helping that event to occur and helping that to take place. With that said, I guess we have one more meeting before the close of the school year, but thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. It's 9:01. Going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Dr. Rude, all in favor? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.